Thanks for tuning in to the Vintage Cinema Review. On this week's episode, we're covering Spaceballs.
A Mel Brooks classic.
Ultimate classic. If you're into any kind of spoofs and something that has to do with Star Wars, we'll think you'll love this one.
It's like Weird Al Yankovic made a movie instead of a song out of Star Wars. Something like that.
I think you already did make that. Or no, never mind.
Cool.
Tune in.
Yeah, definitely. So if you're listening on Spotify, Apple, Google, wherever you're at, leave us that 5-star rating. And don't forget on Apple, you can leave us a written review. It really helps us out. And sit back, relax, and enjoy Spaceballs. Hey, this is Dave.
Matt.
And Zap.
And welcome to the Vintage Cinema Review,
where every week we review some of our favorite films from the past.
Hey, there ain't no late fees here.
Silence is golden. And be kind. Rewind.
Hey, getting on down to the basement. What's up, fellas?
How's it going, man?
It's going great. What's up, Dave?
What's going on, man?
Hey, nothing. Just excited for another review of a vintage cinema movie.
Yeah.
I think that's what we do down here.
Not just any movie, a cinema movie.
A cinema movie, yeah.
Because it's a completely different thing.
Indeed.
Yeah. So, yeah, this one, Spaceballs. This one was brought to us by one of our super fans.
Super fan.
Yeah. This guy's been with us from the very beginning, Nutley Nick. So he was on one of our earlier episodes. We did the Greenbrier Ghost of West Virginia. The guy's like a big West Virginia
Yeah, sorry about them.
fan.
Sorry about them this year, Nutley.
Yeah.
You guys gave it the old college try.
Yeah, but he was on way back when we first started, and he's a heavy contributor on Facebook and always adding to our polls and voting and commenting, so we appreciate him. And I think I know why he likes this movie so much. It is very funny. He's also a big Bon Jovi fan, so that helps, being that they're in the soundtrack.
They are, in fact.
Yeah, and I looked this song up, Raise Your Hands.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that's
When
off,
You Want to Let It Go.
That's off Slippery When Wet.
Great album. Yes, I think it was off Slippery
If it's
When
not
Wet.
Slippery When Wet, then it's
Slippery.
7,800 degrees
Okay.
Fahrenheit.
And when was that? Was that after? Or?
So their first one, or if not their first, it would have been their second.
Okay,
Would have been 7,800 degrees Fahrenheit. Then that was followed by Slippery When Wet.
gotcha.
Then followed by New Jersey, and then so on and so on.
Well, he's a big fan, so I'm sure that helps him like this movie, but it is a great movie. I remember seeing this as a kid and laughing, and I just watched it again, obviously, because we're reviewing it, and it still makes you laugh. So,
Yeah, it is the sixth song on the Slippery When Wet album.
Bam.
there you go.
There you go.
But, yeah, so before we get into this, I have a couple old dirty mailbag items, so I'll get in here in the old dirty mailbag.
We need to have something like
a
like
rustling
reaching
sound.
in, yeah, like rustling. You pick something out from
Yeah.
the mailbag.
Sure.
That's a
Right.
good sound effect.
On the last episode, Vacation, with Chevy Chase, we brought up the car knocking, right? Is that what it was?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's essentially it's like you turned the car off, yet the engine sounds as though it's still running.
Mm-hmm. And Zap kind of hit it right on the head, I guess, when we were recording it. What you said, I think, is exactly what it is, but there's a term for it. It's called dieseling. So shout out to Sean and Jason, two guys I know that are mechanics that listen pretty religiously, and he texted me right away. He's like, it's called dieseling. This is what it is, and it's basically what we kind of reference. I think Zap brought it up during the gas
what
kind
if
of
it's-
igniting.
Yeah,
and
what if it's a non-diesel engine?
it has nothing to do with diesel in general. It's
Okay,
just
I
like
didn't. Yeah,
it's
I
just
didn't
like
know.
a term I guess they use. It's I don't know if diesel engines do it, actually. Maybe that'll be another thing. You could probably give me the answer to that, but I know it said gasoline engines because they're carburetors and stuff. I don't know.
Okay.
There's clearly a difference, and I would love to hear the mechanics tell us more about this.
Yeah.
There's clearly a difference between diesel versus regular, petroleum distillate. When you look at the next time you go to the gas station, look at the octane. And so that octane is, for lack of a better word, the purity of that fuel. Now, diesel, last time I checked, is essentially gasoline, again, petroleum distillate, but there's oil mixed in it. Or in other words, it's a less refined petroleum product. So to get that to ignite takes something special in order to, create that combustion that drives the piston. So there's a chicken or egg thing with this. Is it the the pressure that makes it ignite? Or is there some kind of spark in there? I guess what I'm getting at is there spark plugs in diesel engines? Do diesel engines run in the same fashion as your standard, gasoline engine?
Yeah, I'm sure that's something we'll find out.
Do you guys remember Car Talk?
What was that? Like a
It was,
show?
It was a
Did
show.
did we just live through an episode of it?
Yes, we just went into
Yeah.
Car Talk.
I mean, it is like a cool thing to know cars like
Yeah,
that. You
it's
know
very
what I
cool.
mean? Like, it's a cool profession. Like, it's one of them things where it's just cool to know cars inside and out like that. So I'm sure they'll know that one, but that's what it's called, dieseling. The other thing
You can crack one open for our mechanics. Go ahead, crack one open for them.
For our mechanic friends out there, here's to you.
There it is. Yeah,
very
I like
nice,
that.
very nice.
The other thing he touched on in the Outsiders, we were talking about the car with the spotlight, and there's a name for that. It's called an Appleton spotlight, and supposedly, or not supposedly, it's a thing with muscle cars, I guess, of that era. It was like a thing that they had. And Matt actually looked something up, right, on it, like current prices on those things.
Yeah, I was looking on eBay, and for ones like in pristine condition, you can get them for around $3,000 for a set of 2.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's big money.
God damn.
I mean, and for like chunks of it, like little pieces of the handle go for $300.
Right.
So yeah, they're pricey. I mean, they're a big item.
Yeah, it's called an Appleton spotlight, and then one of our other listeners, Amy, was like, "Oh, I heard you guys talking about that on Outsiders, and we used them for like hunting and stuff to like spot deers," and I think we referenced that.
Sure did.
Yeah.
Absolutely true.
Yeah, so there is that, use of it as well, but there is a name for it. It's called Appleton spotlight. One other one here.
Man, wait a second. At $3,000 a clip for a pair. Man, nostalgia is golden.
Oh, big time, yeah.
Around $875 they had for one that looked like beat up.
Dang.
It wasn't even in good condition.
Well, I know he said the guy that told me about this was saying that at car shows, like cars that, are of that era, it's like a big thing to have those. It really adds to the value, I guess. And obviously you can see what the cost is. So Appleton, yeah.
Like Cousin Larry Appleton.
Right.
I say for some of the basement people, we should all start getting spotlights. That could be like a thing. Be like, oh, that guy listens to the basement.
Yeah, like an ODB spotlight,
Yeah.
like Batman put it up in the sky. That'd be cool.
Be awesome.
That would be awesome. One other one here, listener Joe, a buddy of mine. He listens all the time, loves it. We talked about I believe it was in Outsiders as well, or maybe Eileen Morenos it was, about venison at grocery stores and how I think Zap referenced a story about a restaurant where you went and just
Just a quick little flashback. There was, I'm not sure if it's still there, but there is or was a restaurant at the junction of routes 81 and 78 in central Pennsylvania. They served, for lack of a better word, exotic meats. And by exotic, I mean anything outside of chicken, turkey, beef, pork.
right.
Anything other than that, anything you're not going to find in your typical grocer's, butcher's case.
Like alligator or ox.
They serve that. And at that location, cooked for you, served to you, one of the options was venison. But as we were discussing, you're not going to find that at your local grocer. Why is that?
Well, we've thought that, and I thought that as well, but I guess you can. He sent me a picture from a local grocery store. Now, this is prepackaged, vacuum sealed venison, elk. There's like a special case where they have those meats now, whether or not they're USDA,
are they from? Yeah, no, but are they from Pennsylvania? That's what I was wondering.
Maybe not.
That's what I'm saying.
Yep.
So our state, maybe they're imported from like, Wisconsin or somewhere.
Or Ohio or something like that. Because I think you cannot have, like I said, if somebody wants to mailbag that in.
Yeah, well, I'm sure we'll look into that. But it's funny, these people, they listen, they're like, they like our little tangents, what we go off on, and a lot of people are listening, talking to their radio or radio, but they're
raised on the radio.
Yeah, headphones, whatever. But they're listening and engaging,
and we appreciate all of you. Thank you,
definitely. But yeah, that was I think that was the last mail item for this week, but I just thought that was cool. So we appreciate you guys reaching out, and definitely reach out to us. Email the show. Facebook's a good place. You can leave messages on there, and we appreciate it.
Yeah,
so,
maybe they can have the spotlight on them on the mailbag.
Yeah, we can put the Appleton on you.
Just a reminder on that Facebook. Don't forget, we rely on you, the listeners, to help us pick these movies that we're doing the review. So go to the Old Dirty Basement Facebook page. Be sure to, don't sleep on that poll, as you're scrolling through. And by poll, I mean selecting something.
Right.
Keep the kids off the pole, man.
We rely on you to help us pick these movies. So please, with butter and cheese, select your movie as we put these polls out.
For sure. And speaking of which, we did a Christmas one, and Christmas Vacation has won that poll, and that'll be next week.
We called that though.
Yeah,
we knew.
Kind of knew. We talked about it in the regular Vacation movie, and
I was holding out for It's a Wonderful Life, but oh well.
I mean,
that
got votes too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There might have been one on that, and I might have been the only one to
No,
vote.
there was more than one. I think there was 4 on that.
8-bit Christmas might have got 8.
That had 2.
Oh,
yeah. And I think second place was A Christmas Story, and Elf was up there. But Christmas Story and Vacation were close, but Christmas Vacation took it. But for today, Spaceballs. So
Yeah, we went. Yeah, okay, we're back.
Right. So Spaceballs, rated PG. Runtime on this was 1 hour, 36 minutes. This was directed by Mel Brooks, which we all know. Written by Mel Brooks, Ronnie Graham, and Thomas Meehan. The release date on this movie, June 24th, 1987.
When they said about Spaceballs, I did read a thing. It was 4 years after Return of the Jedi. So, like, it was a weird timing, I thought, for
80,
Spaceballs.
Yeah. Return of the Jedi was
Like
what,
84?
80,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
83 or 84.
Yeah. So June 24th, 1987. Budget on this movie, $22.7 million. And the box office, 38.1.
Oh, that's more than enough to make the juice worth the
Oh,
squeeze.
just okay.
Yeah. What would be the what would be the prerequisite for what you said?
Yeah, juicy squeeze. Like, what do you need?
So in this case, if we're talking specifically just box office, I would say break even.
Okay.
Because anything thereafter is mailbox money.
Mm-hmm.
Talking DVD sales, VHS sales. You're talking nostalgia.
Merchandising.
Merchandising.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking not just things like merchandising. You're talking about replays, royalty fees when they play it on the telly, or when they run it through Netflix, or when they run it through Amazon, or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can break even at the box office, even that I would say is worth the squeeze.
Yeah, because you're going to make money down the road.
100%.
I wonder if there's any big budget movies that even after the fact, like after the theatrical release, never made their money back, that are just so bad. And so, that'd be a good thing to research and find out.
Leonard Part 6, starring
Leonard,
Bill Cosby.
That was horrible. Yeah, you're right. That was a bad one.
So bad.
Yeah, you wonder what the budget versus what it raked in, and does anybody watch it,
Hey, that'd be a grand idea for the review. If somebody comes in with like some of the worst
The
movies.
biggest flop.
Yes,
Right.
the biggest flop. We'll have the biggest flop. You guys go ahead and look online, see a movie that, just a flop, just something that sucked.
Yeah, that'd be
And we'll
good.
do a review.
Good to look into, something that lost money. But so like I said, box office on this, 38.1 million. The filming locations on this. So the desert parts were filmed in Yuma, Arizona. There was parts
Hot. That was in Arizona?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool as hell.
Yeah. So it says here San Diego.
I thought it was Tatooine.
Tatooine.
But it was
Yeah,
not.
they went there. Yeah, could have been. Imperial County, California. Stage 30 of the Metro Goldwyn Mayer Studios. I know they said they used one of the same studios that they used for The Wizard of Oz, because they were finding little parts of the Yellow Brick Road.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that were kind of
I swear to God and Sonny Jesus, I just watched that movie last night.
The Wizard of Oz.
Yep.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was on TNT.
Why?
Right.
Dude, what do you mean why?
It's a great movie.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
great movie. It's a classic.
Yeah. So you're a big fan of vintage cinema.
So these are the ones that are so
100 years from now, they'll
priceless.
be playing.
Absolutely. These are things that
Wizard
have
of
made
Oz.
their way into the Library of Congress type stuff.
Let me ask you then, because you like these old movies, and the Juice Man was on here,
Mm-hmm.
and he keeps telling me about this movie that we have to review. It's called Arsenic and Old Lace. Are you aware of that one?
I know it exists. I know I've seen pieces,
Okay.
but I've heard of it countless times.
Right.
It's just to find it.
Mhm.
The only place I would ever find that would be on like Turner Classic Movies,
Okay.
if I'm lucky.
Mhm.
And I'm that miser that won't blow $3.99
Right. I hear you.
to rent a movie when I'm paying
When there's
$300
5
a
billion
month
movies
for
out there.
my goddamn cable bill and Netflix and Amazon and blah blah blah.
I got you on that, but he swears up and down like you guys got to review it. You're gonna love it. It's about a family of serial killers, I guess, that they're all killers, and it just sounds like it'd be an odd movie to be out back then.
It's
Like the
starring
storyline?
Cary Grant,
Yeah.
so it can't be bad.
Cary Grant,
And
born
it-
in 1906.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think-
85% on Rotten Tomatoes, also. So
Yeah.
cool movie. Looks like.
So we might have to at some point squeeze that in for the Juice Man, because he's contributed to the show, and we can do it down the road. But I just, since bringing that up, I know you like those movies. Like just talking to you, even during the podcast, it comes up a lot. So I didn't know if you ever saw that one.
I would love to see us set up a truly vintage poll.
Right.
You're talking like something from like the 50s and earlier.
Man, look
let's-
here, Shay.
Yeah, well, we can do
That'd be
that.
cool. Something like that.
We can do that for like we did for the Christmas one. Let's set a separate poll and put a list of movies whatever. Pick a date, and then we'll review it, because there's a lot that I haven't seen. That I'd
So
like to go back and see.
vintage Movies that suck would be a good one.
Right.
And
Well, to be clear, movies that suck.
yeah, well, go ahead, explain.
But movies that didn't make their nut at the box office, or just basically lost money significantly at the box office.
No juicy squeeze at the box
Correct.
office.
It's just a dry squeeze.
Dry ass.
Right.
We want the dry ass reveal.
Okay.
All right.
So yeah, I think that's it for the locations. So I'll hand it over to Zap for the cast if you have it there.
I sure do. So this was a quite a lengthy cast. Let's everyone not forget. I mean, there were a ton of little Spaceballs running around all over the place. But people of note included, but were not limited to, Bill Pullman as Lone Star, John Candy as Barf, who was Lone Star's Mog, half man, half dog, Daphne Zuniga as Princess Vespa, Joan Rivers as the voice of Dot Matrix, that was Vespa's droid. Laureen Yarnell provided Dot Matrix's physical performance. Rick Moranis as Dark Helmet. Mel Brooks as Yogurt. Also, Mel Brooks as President Scroob. I don't know if if either of you two noticed or knew that Scroob was an anagram of Brooks.
Yes. I did read that. That's cool, though. A lot of people probably don't know that.
George Weiner as Colonel Sanders. Dick Van Patten as King Roland. Michael Winslow as the radar technician on Spaceball 1. It's thanks to these podcasts and our review of other movies that I'm able to see or have been exposed to Michael Winslow's vast experience.
Like, was Police Academy first, or was Spaceballs first?
Our Police Academy was first.
For sure.
84,
first.
something like that, 83.
But he's been in a lot of shit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was in a lot of stuff back in the 80s especially.
Had no idea. Ronnie Graham as the Minister. Jim J. Bullock as Prince Valium. Leslie Beavis as Commanderette Zircon.
Yeah.
Sandy Helberg as Dr. Irving Schlotkin. Brenda Strong as Nurse Gretchen, Dr. Schlotkin's assistant. We'll get to Nurse Gretchen later.
Bet she gives great helmet.
Indeed. Dom DeLuise as the voice of Pizza the Hut. Rudy DeLuca as Vinny. Rhonda Shear as a waitress. And Jeff McGregor as Snotty. That's it for the cast.
That's it, yeah. So one thing I wanted to clear up on one of our other podcasts, recently we had Shallow thrown in for, which one did we do with him? You were here. Beetlejuice, correct. We were talking about Bill Paxton, Bill Pullman, how we get them confused. And he had said, and we didn't really clarify during the podcast, but that Bill Pullman and Bill Paxton were both dead. But Bill Pullman is not dead.
No, Bill Pullman is not dead. Bill Paxton is for damn sure
Bill
dead.
Paxton is dead. So Bill Pullman is alive and well. So I just wanted to...
And collecting royalties, mailbox money from Spaceballs.
Right. And I kind of looked at, the different stuff that he's been doing lately. And I forgot about this one, a good show called The Sinner. It's a TV series. I watched one season with Jessica Biel, I think he was in that.
Bill Pullman?
Yeah.
Or Bill Paxton? Pullman.
Bill Pullman from this, yeah.
Paxton dead.
Bill Paxton is dead.
Paxton was in the one with he was the in Utah. That
Twister?
No, that was a good movie though. That was a good bad movie. No, it was like a polygamist. I forget what it was called.
Oh, it was a show on HBO.
Yeah, a show on HBO.
Big Love.
Yeah.
Yes, Big Love. That
was actually a cool show.
That was a good show.
Yeah, so Bill Pullman, the same year as this came out, was Serpent in the Rainbow. Do you guys remember that?
I do remember that.
Yeah, that was a freaky movie.
That was freaky.
Right.
Yeah, he got into some voodoo shit.
But he wasn't the main character in that, was he?
I don't remember. I just looking it up. I saw that the release date was the same year.
Oh, okay.
As this,
okay.
So. But yeah, so I guess Matt, you got the synopsis there.
Yes, in bold letters, side splitting, says Gene Shalit, NBC TV. The farce is with you in this laugh-out-loud sci-fi send-up from Mel Brooks that scores 4 stars from USA Today. 8 trillion on the laugh meter, says Gene Shalit. The fearless and clueless Lone Star, Bill Pullman, and his half-man, half-dog sidekick, Barf, John Candy, race against time to free Princess Vespa, Daphne Zuniga, from the evil clutches of Dark Helmet, Rick Moranis. Along the way, they meet the wise Yogurt, Brooks, who teaches them the mystical power of the Schwartz in order to bring peace and merchandising rights to the galaxy. Ladies and gentlemen, we present Spaceballs.
I miss Gene Shalit.
Yeah, Gene Shalit.
I remember seeing that guy as a kid. I always liked his look. He reminded me of basically like Welcome Back Kotter, but with glasses.
Yeah.
He was always happy, too.
Always happy.
Always
Look,
happy.
if your job is reviewing movies, you got to be happy. Unless you're Siskel and Ebert, who are
Right.
just assholes.
Yeah, they were always bitter and, you know what I mean?
They did hate everything,
They
pretty much.
did, man.
Yeah.
Christ.
They never, like, both liked something. One really liked something, and the other one, like, complain about it. And yeah, but they still made a good living.
So, Zap, you're going to take us through the movie, I guess?
I mean, I hope that all three of us can take us through this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course.
So, this is a great movie insofar as the way that there's so many scenes that this splits through.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're constantly this is in true comedic form that you're going from one scene to the next scene to the next scene, and it's in a completely different place.
Mm-hmm.
Completely different place. So we start out in true Star Wars fashion with the story. The storyline scrolls. It's that true Star Wars thing where we got the story of Planet Spaceball has run out of fresh air, and it's looking to steal, countless lifetimes worth of fresh air from planet Druidia. As the scrolling is done, this is now, again, something very similar in true Star Wars fashion. You see the equivalent of a Star Destroyer flying by, but it flies by for like a minute.
Well,
You're counting the seconds as you're seeing, like, come on, man. I could go to the bathroom and come back and it's still flying by.
just because it seems so long, and we talked about this in the last podcast, Matt was talking about the nun in class, something about story about you had about 5 minutes. There's 5 minutes left.
How long?
yeah.
And then
Yes.
Zap talked about detention.
Oh,
and
yeah, I
how
was
I'm
counting the
watching it.
seconds.
So I thinking about that, I was like, let me write down the time here.
Oh, cool.
So that started at 1:53. We see the ship come into the frame, and it ends at 3 minutes 35 seconds. So you figure that's what,
A minute and a half.
40, yeah,
Minute 40.
roughly. So
That's just insane.
And I
Yeah.
thought a cool part is in the 80s, remember, like the big thing was bumper stickers.
Right.
They had the bumper stickers everywhere. And on the back of the huge ass spaceship it says, "We break for nobody."
That's right.
yep.
I like that.
Yeah. They're certainly the bosses.
Yeah,
So
it's like, take that.
after a minute and 40 some seconds, after Spaceball 1 flies by, inside we find Colonel Sanders, and we are introduced to Dark Helmet, who apparently can't breathe with his face mask down, with his helmet mask down.
Right.
We're also introduced to a mysterious power held within Dark Helmet's ring, as he points and shoots it at one of his underlings' crotches.
Right.
Strolling around the ship, we're also introduced to the ship's Mr. Coffee Machine, as well as Mr. Radar, where Dark Helmet is determined to go steal their air from planet Druidia. Now we switch scenes to planet Druidia. Princess Vespa is to be married to Prince Valium. Realizing she wants no part of that marriage, she runs off with her droid, Dot Matrix,
Played by, it was like Joan Rivers' voice,
Joan, yeah.
right? But
voiced by Joan Rivers.
but you said
There was a different person inside. It's like
Yeah.
how C3. So again, if you have not seen this movie, for Christ's sake, please see this movie, ladies and gentlemen. So very similar to C3PO, there was a different person inside the body, and somebody else
doing the voice.
versus the voice.
Right. Same thing with like Darth Vader being James Earl Jones.
Yeah,
and
James
then-
Earl Jones was not in that Darth Vader suit.
Right. But Rick.
Good fact.
Yeah,
No,
fun-
yeah.
Fun
Well,
fact.
Some people might not know
Some
that,
people might
though.
not know that.
Right.
They're like, no, that was not
But
him.
that
He
was
didn't-
Rick Moranis in his suit.
Yeah,
100%. That oversized helmet was hilarious.
It's the best.
Just ridiculous.
And that's one of the, parts that, from a kid I remember like laughing the most at was Rick Moranis and Dark Helmet. I just thought it was like, and Matt, you were saying your son
Yeah,
being
reference
young.
my son. I thought some of the parts would be a little, but I mean, he's old enough. But yeah, we watched it, and he just thought Dark Helmet was like, just from being a Star Wars fan, and he just thought the guy was hilarious. Rick
Just a-
Moranis played
A great spoof. Just a great
Tremendous.
spoof. Huge, tremendous.
Mhm.
So as
any cool word that means good.
gooder.
Goodest.
So, yeah, Vespa and her droid dot matrix fly away. We now flash to a completely different scene of a flying Winnebago named Eagle 5. Now, Matt, you mentioned your fancy for the bumper sticker on Spaceball 1. Did you catch the bumper sticker on the Winnebago?
Oh, yes, on the Winnebago. No. I know what it is. I can't.
I do remember, but I can't remember what it said.
I, with a heart, Uranus.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah, my kid laughed at that one, too. Shoot.
So funny.
That's good.
In this scene, we're introduced to Lone Star and his sidekick Barf, who
that's
again is a Mog. No, go ahead.
No, that's where they're jamming out to a reference
the
to
Bon
Nutley
Jovi.
Nick. Yeah, the
Yeah.
Bon Jovi, Raise Your
Yeah.
Hands, and Barf's eating his dog food, having a good time, dancing around.
Mm-hmm.
It's
You
like
know,
a nice Winnebago.
I don't know. It's so amazing that you bring that up, or that what's the listener?
The song, Nutley Nick, yeah.
So that he brings this up. I don't know why, but I put that on my list of fun facts. That song is in this movie because I saw that scene and I was like, wow, man, this feels good.
Yeah.
Like this takes me back. This is fun. Hey, I'm a kid again in the 80s listening to Bon Jovi.
Yeah, who didn't like Slippery When Wet when that was out?
It's like 9, I think, top 5 songs on that album. I would go through that at another time.
They had a lot of good singles on
Yes,
that. Not
yes.
as many as my personal favorite Bon Jovi album, New Jersey.
Was that later? That was later.
That was later. I want to say Jersey came out in 89 or 90.
Okay.
What was the top track on that?
Bad Medicine.
Your love
Is like bad? Yeah.
medicine.
Yeah.
Okay, that was a good song.
I mean, Bad Medicine was the first single.
Mm-hmm.
They had a number thereafter.
I know Nutley's gonna be loving this. We're talking Bon Jovi. Like that guy loves Bon Jovi.
Look, man, I could listen to the New Jersey album front to back over and over and over. I spent a lot of time with that album, like a lot of time.
Yeah, he's like way into him. I think he goes like every show and
Dang,
they still play live?
even without Richie Sambora.
yeah. I mean, I know. Well, I shouldn't say he goes to every show, but I know he's gone to many shows. But he's into like he likes that like hair. It's not hair metal. Is that hair metal? I don't know what you.
So they're a hair band.
Hair band at the
that's
time.
what it is. Hair band. He likes those hair bands. And
They
stuff.
had the big hair.
Right.
But they
Songs
don't really
were,
like.
the songs were well written, perfectly produced. Kudos to Bon Jovi.
For sure.
Meanwhile, back in the Winnebago, after we're introduced to Lone Star and his sidekick Barf, Lone Star receives a call from Vinny. This is a dude made up to look like a robot. This is Pizza the Hut's sidekick.
He kind of looked at the time. What was for Coca-Cola? They had
Max
Headroom.
Right.
Was
That's what it
that
reminded
Coke
me
or
of.
Pepsi?
Pepsi, maybe. I don't know.
No, it was Coke.
Coke.
I'm pretty sure. Oh no, now I'm second guessing it. I don't know. It was Pepsi.
Was it Pepsi? Yeah, I don't know.
He had his own show for a minute.
Yes,
he did.
He
Well, Back to the Future had
A spoof on that.
Yeah, and there was a thing in the Cafe 80s.
Cafe 80s. So the spoof on that in Back to the Future was they had the Ayatollah.
That's right.
Ayatollah Khomeini and Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
And it first started out with Michael Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
Something you could have your choice of something chicken, beef, or pork.
Max Headroom was Coca-Cola.
Bang. There you go. Thank you.
Catch the Wave, 1985.
And off topic, but on another podcast, I listened back and you said something, Zap, and I think it was a Back to the Future reference. It was about somebody pulling a gun or something, and you made like a reference to. I learned it on was it Hogan's?
No,
or
so
it was, Hogan's Alley or something like that.
So I've said this before in different podcasts. I speak often in movies.
Mm-hmm.
Just having watched so much television, movies, so much throughout my life.
Movie speak, that's cool.
I constantly am just kicking out phrases, random obscure phrases from shows and movies.
Mm-hmm.
So Marty in Back to the Future 3 is asked, "Where did you learn to shoot like that?" And he says 7-Eleven.
7-Eleven, that's what it was. Yeah, it was talking about the Hogan's Alley game, maybe or something like that.
Yeah,
because
or
Matt,
Gunsmoke.
it was one
Could
of
be
those.
Hogan's Alley. Either one of those two. Yeah.
Matt was talking about something, and then you came in with that, and listening back, I'm like, oh shit, that's a reference to Back to the Future.
Yep.
It might have been. It wasn't during Back to the Future podcast. It was another one. But anyway, back on track.
Man, I was way off.
Yeah.
It's a good thing we're floating around the whole galaxy here.
Mm-hmm.
So they receive a call from Vinny. This is the Max Headroom looking dude who is Pizza the Hut's basically his lackey, his muscle. And after a brief discussion, these guys are Lone Star and Barf are now extorted from Pizza the Hut for $1 million space bucks. Like they were into him for whatever, but now he just upped the interest ridiculously.
1 million space bucks.
Yeah.
But real quick little thing to jump in here. The guy playing Pizza the Hut who was not Dom DeLuise. It was his voice.
Yep.
Right.
But the guy, he took that one take and he said that was it because they had like
It was uncomfortable, I bet.
yeah, it was. He was covered in pounds of, they said, like molten cheese, and they kept on like blowing it with like
nasty.
air. But it was real. Yeah, it was like real hot cheese that they kept putting on this.
I'm
this
surprised
thing.
they spent that kind of money on cheese.
Yeah, I mean,
Now, I say that today because, so if you get a pizza, right, cheese is by far and away, the most expensive thing on that thing. Like bread is cheap as shit. Sauce is cheap as shit. It's
Right.
the cheese is what costs a lot of money. I'm surprised that they would blow that kind of money for that much cheese.
Yeah,
But there are so many other products out there that would otherwise suit that. Make it look like cheese.
the actor's name was actually Richard Caron, and he just said, "That's it." He's like, "I'm done with this shit."
not going to do it
Yeah,
anymore.
he's like, so they actually had the effects guy, the guy that was doing the effects was like, "Shit, man, I'll jump in, I'll do it."
Right.
So he any other takes after that, which I don't know why you just wouldn't need one take.
Yeah, that's
But in here, though, I mean, you mess up on simple things, so they probably had to go back again and
redo it and
Yes.
whatever. But to Zap's point, I used to work at a pizza shop, and I can definitely tell you that's true because a lot of pizza shops will skimp. One of the best cheese you can buy is called Grande, and it's an expensive cheese. And a lot of pizza shops, you'll go in and they'll have a picture up framed. They'll say, we're 100%er, Grande, authentic cheese.
Yep.
And you can cut corners and save money.
you see that's all lies.
No. I'm just saying like that is the most expensive cheese and you get what you pay for. Like you can buy cheaper cheese, but like he said, dough, sauce, that stuff, it's not really much of the cost. It's all in the cheese and the toppings like the meats and stuff. You can
Grande
save.
cheese.
Grande's like, at least back when I was there working at a pizza shop, that was like the best,
One of the
best
pinnacle
cheese.
brands.
One of the big, outside of like probably some private mom and pop, mozzarella cheese we don't know about.
Right.
But of the major distributors, Grande.
Yes, Grande
Yeah.
means large.
So I don't-
probably yummy,
Yeah.
large cheese.
I don't think they were using Grande on the pizza.
No,
Hut,
not on
though.
Pizza the Hut.
Probably
No.
not. Yeah.
Far too expensive. It's interesting you mentioned that. So as Matt had alluded, which is what I thought where I thought you were going with your story about cheese. So there's all kinds of fakers out
Jesus.
there, all kinds of fakers. I
Right.
can own a pizza shop, hang up a sign saying or that reads only Grande or whatever.
Right.
When in reality, I'm serving up Kraft
Mm-hmm.
or some bullshit,
Ugh.
Right.
generic brand mozzarella. So I worked in a restaurant for a year, and they served Heinz ketchup. They had Heinz. They didn't serve Heinz ketchup. They
Right.
had that as their ketchup condiment.
Right.
And at restaurants, they would get these. It was more cost effective for them to buy bottles by the case. But then when the bottle was empty, they would have these huge plastic, basically squeeze bags that they would use to refill the ketchup bottles.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something special about seeing a glass bottle of Heinz on the table.
Right.
I remember talking to the owner about that, and he was at one point just complaining about food costs, blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, look, man, you guys are using Heinz. Now, not for nothing. You're essentially giving that away, or you have to incorporate that cost. This is, me, this blossoming young would-be someday accountant,
Right.
thinking like, look, man, you're incorporating that cost into your menu prices. Why don't you just use shittier ketchup and put it into bottles? Nope.
Yeah.
Or just use shittier ketchup. That's what it was. I said, just use, a lower grade ketchup. He said, well, no, I don't want to use a lower grade ketchup because people don't know or like or trust lower grade ketchups because everybody in the world eats and knows
Heinz.
Heinz. And then he went on to mention that there were people from Heinz that would go around and test the bottles.
If you were faking it.
Yeah. If you were putting Hunt's or brand X into that bottle of Heinz and faking it,
Faking the funk on the
They would
ketchup
come
jump.
after you.
lawsuit.
Wow.
Like lawsuit.
Catsup.
Ketchup.
That's right.
There's catsup.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a thing.
I've heard of that.
There's catsup with a C and a K.
Okay. Yeah, but I know what you're saying about that. I mean, you can't. I know, like we're talking about that cheese, like with Grande, you can tell, you can tell the difference for sure, like between a lower grade, just how oily it is and how much, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. But
And this is how great this movie. This is how much it stands out that we can go on a 10-minute tangent
right,
about Grande cheese
And ketchup.
fake
And
Heinz.
ketchup, yeah.
Fake Heinz. Oh,
Gosh,
So after we had the extortion threat from Pizza the Hut, for,
so delicious.
you are delicious.
Continue.
Thank you. Next scene, we're back to Spaceball 1. Now, at this point, the Spaceball 1 has caught up to the Mercedes that Princess Vespa and her sidekick Dot Matrix flew off in, and they're now attacking Princess Vespa. When, of course, Dark Helmet says, fire a couple shots across her bow, and the guy's basically almost hitting her, like he's just barely missing her. Helmet says, "Hey man, what are you doing?" I said, "Hit her." I said, "Scare her, don't, kill her." And the guy turns around and is this cross-eyed dude.
He goes,
"This is the main gunner."
I said, "Across it, not up it."
That's it. That's it. Oh,
but no, that part too. Like they get caught in the tractor beam, and they're bringing in the Mercedes, and they don't want to get out because she's like a spoiled brat. She's like, as long as we don't leave the Mercedes or something like that. And that's when Lone Star pulls up. Correct?
yes. So in that meantime, King Roland, Vespa's father, contacted Lone Star, asks him for help, and reluctantly agrees to pay him 1 million space bucks if he's successful. He also says to the Lone Star, "Hey man, please try to save the Mercedes if you can." So as Matt had alluded, Lone Star arrives on the scene, jams Spaceball 1's radar, and rescues Vespa and Dot Matrix and their matching luggage. And so I put a little bit of emphasis on jam because they fire a bottle of
real jam,
like this huge bottle of raspberry jam.
Yes, raspberry.
At the satellite dish, the radar dish that's collecting all of this. This is where we see Michael Winslow making the beeps, the boops, the sweeps.
Yeah,
He lost the bleeps,
yeah, he's talented.
lost the
at that,
jeeps, and the creeps.
And
But then the jam too is like, there's only one man that would
That's
give me
right.
the raspberry.
yeah, it was dripping down the screen.
And then the helmet comes down. It's like Lone Star.
Indeed. From there, Lone Star speeds away by going into hyperactive speed. In order to catch up, Spaceball 1 goes into ludicrous speed, which ends up going to plaid and passes right past Lone Star.
Colonel Sanders, he said, "I don't do it." He said, "Don't go to ludicrous speed."
Yeah, that was funny when he was telling, like when they decided, and he's like, "Close the mall, do that." Like he was just talking about all the stuff on this ship, and I mean it's a massive ship. It was just funny all the things he's telling them to shut down and close.
The circus.
The circus, yeah. I forgot about that one too. Yeah.
So after an emergency stop while in plaid, you see Dark Helmet fly right into the console head first. He flies across the whole bridge of this massive ship and just flies gives a header into the console.
Where he said stop, right? And he's like, "You can't stop. You got to slow down first." And he
says, "Screw you," and he
hits the button.
Hits the emergency brake. And so after, again, a header into this console, he gets up and he's all dazed and confused and whatever. They ask him how he's doing. "Oh, I'm fine. Thank you." "Smoke him. Let's take a 5-minute break."
Smoke him if you got
Smoke him if you got him.
And then he just falls over. Boom.
Yeah, that was great.
Done.
He needed a nappy.
Mm-hmm.
Next scene, we're back to the flying Winnebago. So with Lone Star, Barf, Dot Matrix, and Vespa. After all of this high-speed running, they run out of gas. Apparently $5 space bucks wasn't enough when they had last stopped. And they're forced to land on the desert moon of Vega. This is finally where Lone Star and Vespa meet for the first time face-to-face. He'd been driving the Winnebago, and she was down there with Dot Matrix, just hanging out with her luggage.
Right.
So with luggage in tow, they're all forced to make their way through the desert.
And it's hot.
And they're carrying all this luggage and shit, but they do ultimately ditch the industrial strength hairdryer that they had been carrying.
He's like, Barf was like, "What's in this thing?" And it was a hairdryer, and they're very upset by that.
"Oh, I could carry this all day." Next scene, they flash back to Spaceball 1. So having passed the Winnebago, they decided to grab the video cassette of the movie to figure out where they are.
That part was hilarious.
To figure out where Lone Star and crew are. Note, as they're going through trying to find the movie, only Mel Brooks movies are available in the library.
On the shelves.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense. Why would he pay royalties to anybody else but himself?
Mm-hmm.
Classic.
That was a great scene where they're just going back and forth. Like, when's now? Is this now? Or did it happen already?
Right
you know what I mean?
then.
When was then?
Just now.
Just now.
But no, that was cool to see a movie do that. Because I remember first seeing this movie
That is dude. That's a mind scrambler.
Yes,
But
it was
yeah,
great.
What do
It
they
was
call
great.
that? Breaking the third. Isn't there a term for that?
The
Like in a movie when they
The fourth wall.
is that what it is? They call it breaking the fourth wall when they turn to the camera and talk to you. And is that the term? I know there's something like that. Where,
I can look that up.
I think it's got to be the fourth wall because when you're looking at let's say a stage play, right?
Mhm.
So you're going to see to the front, you're going to see to the left, and you're going to see to the right.
Mhm.
That's 3 walls.
3 walls, correct.
The fourth wall is the one where
The audience.
The
is.
audience.
where is coming from. So it's like them talking to that fourth wall, that invisible fourth wall.
And that would have been something that we've seen in like TV series and stuff. I'm trying to think off the top of my head, but it's been done and probably in other movies, but I'm trying to think like an example.
You'll see it in mannerisms.
Ferris Bueller, they broke the fourth wall.
Ferris Bueller.
Ferris Bueller's
that's
one.
one. Yes.
Absolutely, that's one. That's by far and away one of the biggest, examples. You'll see it often in a show called The Office.
Yes.
Yes.
By
That's
virtue
it.
of just their face mannerisms, and they like when they look directly in the or I should say directly at the camera. That's in and of itself breaking the fourth wall.
Christmas Story did it when he looked at the audience when
Right.
he got away with the BB gun, breaking his glasses. But the actual, it says the fourth wall is the implied plane that marks the edge of the onstage action. Actors break the fourth wall by acknowledging the existence of the audience. So there it is, the
there
fourth
it
wall.
is.
Very good.
In adult cinema, they do that too a lot.
Thought it was breaking the third.
What?
In adult movies, when they look at the screen and talk to you, or that's called something else.
Hello, lady.
You know what I'm talking about when they, I forget what they call it.
I know I'm looking at you like you got 2 heads, but I have never seen porn that features that.
You're saying
you
they're
feel-
talking to you. Or like you're looking down like you're the dude that's
Like you're the
having
guy, yeah. It's like, almost like a
having the escapade.
Oh. So that's got it. That's
It's
different.
just porn.
yeah.
I'm
Back to vintage cinema.
Yeah.
That's we'll do another the porn. We'll rate a porn movie.
yeah. Right.
So it was a lot of sex.
I
in
had
this.
actually a listener reached out and wanted to do a porn review called Old Dirty Sock, and he wanted to have like an offshoot,
God damn.
an offshoot show from
That's so
ours.
nasty.
He was like, "Hey, like me and this other guy want to do like, could we be under your umbrella of shows and call it Old Dirty
So they'll
Sock?"
do porn reviews, but
Yes.
it's called older. That's
Yes.
not.
And I said, well, when we get big enough, maybe
They got the
like,
money.
we
Hey,
can do
money
that.
talks.
We'll have to think about the franchising rights on that
Is the
one.
juice worth the squeeze on that one?
Right.
That's what I gotta say.
Into the sock.
That's what I was waiting for.
So after fast forwarding and getting through the VHS tape, they find that Lone Star and friends landed on the desert moon of Vega. So they move they turn around and they make their way to the desert moon of Vega. By this time, it's nighttime and everyone's sitting around a campfire.
Oh wait, before you didn't do the combing of the desert.
They didn't get to the desert.
Yeah,
yet.
I think that's
Oh,
later.
they didn't
They're
get
on
there.
their way to
Okay.
the moon of Vega.
Gotcha.
Meanwhile, so Matt just fast forwarded the movie. And he was
Are we here? When was then?
You just missed it. Just now. So on the moon of Vega, before Spaceball 1 gets there, it's nighttime and everyone's sitting around a campfire. Vespa's talking to Lone Star tells him that she has no choice but to marry Prince Valium. She can only marry a prince.
He was very boring, Prince Valium. He's always yawning.
With a name like
Yeah.
Valium. Lone Star and Vespa are chatting, and he reveals his medallion, which no one to date can decipher. Lone Star and Vespa start to get close. And then Dot Matrix's Virgin Alert, or is it alarm, goes off.
Virgin alarm?
I think it is. Yeah.
Virgin
Okay.
alarm.
Dot Matrix's Virgin alarm goes off as they're about to kiss. The next day, they pass out in the desert from heat exhaustion as they're walking around, and they're ultimately found by the Dinks.
Dink, dink, dink.
Yeah, so the Dinks are the Jawas.
Jawas.
Like, okay, like Ewoks.
Mhm.
Or
Jawas.
Jawas, okay. Wait a minute.
Ewoks are the little furry things on Endor.
Jawas are little guys with the.
They're all wearing brown
Yeah.
robes.
Okay, I thought they were
With hoods.
sand people or something.
No, the Sand People are the Tusken Raiders.
They're the ones going like that.
Oh,
The
okay.
Jawas are like just
little
little guys.
Tusken Raiders have like little robotic pieces, almost like bionic pieces on their faces.
Okay,
like the eye things. They're usually wrapped in like a gauze type thing.
I got you.
If you give a shit about Star Wars.
Did you guys notice the one little not Jawa? No, I'm saying Jawa. The one little dink. He was the little person, the little African American person that was in Bad Santa.
I was that guy.
Yeah, the little guy. You know what I'm talking about?
No, I mean I know the guy from Bad Santa.
Yes.
Is that the guy from Friday?
Yes. Same guy.
He was in this in Spaceballs.
Yep.
Oh wow, I have to go back and watch it. I didn't catch it during the movie, but
He was in there. Quick fact.
I think he was also in Me, Myself, and Irene.
he was the dad
Yeah,
of the boy.
he
That
was
a
the
great
ultimate.
movie.
He was ultimately the father of these three huge black guys that were
Yes.
smart as hell.
And they, because it was Jim Carrey.
Yeah,
It was Jim Carrey's boys.
Yep.
And he was like, that was a great. That movie was hilarious.
absolutely.
Tony Cox.
Tony Cox.
Yeah,
That's a porn star name.
absolutely.
In Spaceballs, they call him the token black dink.
Wow, the token black dink.
Just read that.
Well,
From
thank
Bad
you.
Santa. Yeah.
Thank you, Mel Brooks,
Quick fact.
for including what's his name, Mike Cox.
Tony
Cox.
Tony Cox. So yeah, they're found by the Dinks. So now we flash a quick little flash to a scene of Dark Helmet and Colonel Sanders. They've since made their way to the planet. That is to say, the desert moon of Vega, and they're just speeding around looking for. Again, it's just a quick throwaway scene, but they're on a speeder, floating around the desert looking for these guys. That's it. Just a small little group of them. If you look closely at that speeder. So the speeder's just sitting there, and it's made to look like it's floating. But if you look closely enough, you can tell it's basically sitting on a box that's outlined on the. It's just wrapped in a mirror.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can see the reflection.
It looks horrible.
Yeah, it's bad.
It is bad.
You can really see it.
I'll have to go back and watch that one. I didn't catch that but I did read that in the facts, but I didn't catch it during so that was the scene they were talking about. I thought it was the scene that you're referencing there was the one where, near the end of the movie where the Winnebago's like floating in the air, and he kind of climbs down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was the one that they used.
Oh, for the mirror?
Yeah.
Oh no. Maybe
It could have. Well,
I mean, it's possible, but I know for damn sure. Like just
that
as
scene.
this, I didn't even know that was a fun fact. This is me just watching it X days ago and seeing it like, wow. So that's how they did that. They just put mirrors up.
Put mirrors up. Well, on that Winnebago scene, I didn't catch a mirror. That's why I was thinking, like, if that was a scene, like, I didn't see it on there. So it must have been earlier, and I just didn't catch it.
In the movie, it does. I read something about how Lucas loved this movie, and they're saying, well, perhaps because Brooks gave him $5 million, just to like.
Well, there's that.
Yeah, but he also they would talk to Lucasfilm a lot about like the special effects and stuff, and George Lucas was kind of like, I don't want him as good, but.
No, and that's what made this movie so
Yes.
good, because it was
Yes.
a farce. It was a play on the greatness that Star Wars was.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, I would imagine that on purpose, Mel Brooks did shitty special effects, which works for him because it keeps costs down.
And it's funny.
And it's funny.
And it's
Yeah.
funny.
But he worked with Lucas on like the post production and the special effects just so they could make it funny.
Yeah.
And that's what it did.
Absolutely, a spoof. So we now flash back to Lone Star and the gang, who again were found by the Dinks. They arrive at a temple where they find a huge statue of yogurt in true Wizard of Oz fashion.
It was basically Wizard of Oz.
100%. And then this little yogurt guy with the name of Yogurt, emerges from the statue and introduces them to I say that some people might not have seen this.
Right.
So this yogurt guy emerges from the statue and introduces them to the concept of merchandising and the power of the Schwartz.
Right.
It's a great little scene.
Absolutely. Spaceballs the doll.
Spaceballs the flamethrower.
Spaceballs.
The kids love this one.
Yeah.
That's
Spaceballs the sheet. He had it in
The
there.
sheet.
So now we do a quick flash to President Scroob, who is in bed with the Wrigley twins, Wrigley Gum.
The gum twin. Yes.
Yeah. The woman commander, what's her name? Zircon.
who's a very, very attractive woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that librarian, like that professional,
Mm-hmm.
attractive, not like hooker attractive.
No, just
Just attractive.
So this is the part now. Now we get to the part that Matt had referenced however long ago, when Zircon asks him, what do they want him to do? President Scroob says to Zircon, "Well, tell them to comb the desert." So now we flash to Spaceballs on the moon planet of Vega.
I didn't realize that scene was so far from that. There was so much that happened in between.
Look at how much
Yeah.
happened in between.
A
They had
lot.
for Christ's sake, they met yogurt in between.
Yeah.
right.
So now at this point, everyone's combing the desert, including two black Spaceballs who alert everyone that they ain't found shit.
Yeah, they had a pick.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
the
right.
pick- the
Everybody
hair
else is
pick.
using Ace combs.
Ace combs.
They're using Ace picks.
Yeah.
All right. Now where are we flashing to? Next scene, we're moving back to Yogurt's temple. So at this point, Yogurt deciphers Lone Star's medallion, but tells him that he'll find out what it means when the time is right.
Well, I like when he sees the medallion. He's going,
Clearing his throat.
You can read it? No, I'm just clearing my throat.
exactly. What you're waiting there for him. He's like, oh, he's reading. He's like, you can read it. Clearing the throat.
Also, Lone Star at this point is in training with the Schwartz, with Yogurt, a la Luke was in training with Yoda on the Force. At this point, we see Lone Star is able to lift a huge statue, which is the Yogurt statue. And as Barf walks in and asks him or exclaims like, "Hey man, good job, boss. You're doing a great job." He loses his concentration and drops it right on Barf's foot.
Flattened.
Yow.
Yeah, that was a flat foot for sure.
Mm-hmm.
The Spaceballs, the bad guys, locate Yogurt's lair, and they lure Princess Vespa outside by using a hologram of her father superimposed over Dark Helmet. I love it. I love it when she walks out, and she faints when he sees him and fooled you.
Fooled you. We forgot that part where Dark Helmet he has the the safari helmet on.
So the safari.
Desert.
That's the part. That's that quick little scene when they're sitting in the speeder. That's surrounded by the whatever.
That's the scene. I got to go back and
that's
watch
at least
it.
the first scene where you see it. I'm guessing he's also there. Is he present when they ask them if they're the people who are combing the desert if they found anything, or is that just like Colonel Sanders?
I think he's there as well. But
Okay.
If that's
So
the
you're
same
definitely going to
scene,
see the safari hat both times.
I was so focused on that hat, that helmet he had.
Yeah,
I
'cause
probably missed it.
He either has a helmet that lifts up the whole way, but this one had the little side
thing.
screen.
Yeah,
Yeah, like the cuckoo clock door.
right.
So after he fooled you, we see a farewell to Yogurt, where Lone Star receives a fortune cookie and a Schwartz ring given to him by Yogurt. Next scene, we move to Planet Spaceball. Dark Helmet is playing with dolls, acting out a scenario where he beats up Lone Star and Vespa falls for him and is suddenly interrupted by Colonel Sanders.
Well, she was the Druish princess, and she's both attracted to money and power.
Yeah,
And I have them both.
yeah, that was
And
great.
you know it.
And you know it. Your helmet's so big.
Yeah.
But your helmet's so big.
That was
So-
a great scene.
Yeah, and after the dolls scene, we see Vespa is in the clutches of the evil Dr. Slotkin, a well-known plastic surgeon, and his assistant Gretchen. So so on Matt's reaction to Gretchen, so without getting too graphic, given the time, let's pretend I was pushing 12 years old when this movie came out.
Right.
Oh, I'm sorry, 87.
88. It was 87.
87.
Yes.
87. I'm pushing 11 years old. Let's say it came out in the summer of 87, so I'm pushing 11 years old. That Nurse Gretchen will absolutely jumpstart you into puberty if you aren't already there.
Right.
Well, no, you didn't see much of what the outfit she was wearing, a nurse's outfit, Nurse Gretchen, but very low cut, and she was just built.
With a zipper right where it counts.
Yes.
Yes.
Schlocking.
Go golfing. Go work on your putts.
Go work on
Go
your
work on your
putts.
putts.
That was a good one, too.
So this is where Dark Helmet threatens to give Vespa her old nose back, unless King Roland gives him the combination to this big dome that surrounds Planet Druidia and keeps all that fresh air in. The King relents, and he gives him the combination to the dome.
1,
2,
3,
4.
5.
The combination is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah. Wasn't there a
That's something that's a combination an idiot was put on his luggage.
luggage? Yes, that's a part.
And they call in President Scroob, and he comes in.
We later found out
Yes.
that is in fact President Scroob's luggage code.
He
Yes.
said, how did they know the combination of my luggage? I have to change that.
So while held captive on Planet Spaceball, we see Lone Star and Barf arrive. They slowly sneak their way in. They take a couple of guards' uniforms and they save Vespa and Dot Matrix. In fact, during one of the firefights, where these guys are running around, getting chased, getting shot at, the Spaceballs captured them. I'm sorry, don't capture them. They capture their stunt doubles.
That was a good.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
The guy, like she's a dude. She's like a beard.
This like, come on.
This dude turns his face around. He's like got a cigar in his mouth, and it's Vespa, or no, not Vespa, Dot Matrix. One of them.
It was Vespa. Yeah.
It was Vespa.
Yeah.
Okay. Priceless. So now we move to Spaceball 1, the ship.
Right.
So the Spaceballs arrive at planet Druidia. This is where we find the ship transforming into what is ultimately Megamaid.
Megamaid, yeah.
It's not just a ship, it's a transformer. At this time, Megamaid sucks out all of the air, or is in the process of sucking out all of the air from Druidia's atmosphere. Lone Star uses the Schwartz to reverse the vacuum, where it goes from suck to blow.
It's going from suck
to blow. Yeah.
Indeed.
What were they saying when he was trying to use it? The Schwartz. They kept like cheering him on. I forget what they were saying. It was something funny.
I know that there was a part where they were saying suck.
Maybe that's
suck.
No, but that was Dark Helmet.
Yeah.
And Colonel. But in the other one, like he was doing with the Schwartz, and they're like, "Come on, Schwartz! Come on, Schwartz!"
I kind of vaguely remember what you're talking about, but
was it Go Schwartz? Go Schwartz instead of Go Sports?
I don't know. It was something funny. When you guys watch the movie, you'll see.
You'll catch it.
Yeah.
Indeed. So Lone Star uses the Schwartz, reverses the vacuum, goes from suck to blow, and at this point, they fly the Winnebago into Megamaid's ear. Lone Star is in search of the self-destruct mechanism, which he finds after besting 2 guards, and Dark Helmet arrives and finds Lone Star. This is where the battle royale commences here.
Yes, these are 2 Schwartz masters.
These are 2 Schwartz masters. After discovering that Lone Star Schwartz is as big as his, they battle a la lightsaber style.
And they get the Schwartz tangled.
They do get their Schwartz tangled.
And then they kill he goes and strikes down a cameraman. Which is funny. Yeah, you remember that?
It was like the what are they called?
Like a gaffer.
Gaffer.
Yeah.
A gaffer or
what
are they called? It's a boom mic, but they're grip.
A grip.
Key grip.
It's a grip.
Yeah.
Grip.
Anyway, he kills a grip. Dark Helmet steals Lone Star's ring while he offers him a handshake. I can't believe you fell for that, man.
That's the oldest trick in the book, man.
Evil will always triumph because good is dumb.
Which was that was a good quote.
Lone Star ultimately wins the fight though by using a mirror to ricochet an energy blast from Dark Helmet.
Right back at him.
Right back at Dark Helmet. The shot, the force of it, physically forces Dark Helmet into forces his body's moving and his head blasts into the self-destruct button.
Right.
So self-destruct, it's going. Ship's going to blow up. Ship's going to blow up. Everyone's abandoning ship. The pizza guy, the bearded lady. There's a bear.
There's a bear, yeah.
However, President Scroob, Dark Helmet, and Colonel Sanders remain.
Well, they cannot. Yeah, they're running around everywhere, like you said, trying to get on the escape pods.
Yeah,
and they're just all out of the top of the maid. Correct.
Yeah.
Which kind of looked like the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah, with the.
Oh, we'll get to that one for sure. So Lone Star and friends. So while the ship's about to explode, of course, our heroes, Lone Star and friends, they escape, and the ship explodes. Megamaid explodes.
Self-destructs.
Meanwhile, on the Winnebago, Lone Star and Barf hear a news story that Pizza the Hut died after eating himself to death. They also loosely hear a preview of the review of Rocky 5,000.
5,000, yeah.
They drop off Vespa and Dot Matrix, and they make their way off to a diner. So they're at the diner, and they order whatever they do order for the meals. And I guess Barf had ordered the special. And we see we see a scene at the end of the diner where there's a few people just talking, laughing, having a good time. And one of the guys, ends up having a little bit of stomach trouble.
That was a spoof of Alien.
That was not just a spoof of Alien, where this dude falls on his back onto the countertop, and the alien blasts out of his body. That's the same dude from Alien.
Yep,
it's John Hurt.
And did you know?
And he goes, "Oh no, not again!"
Yeah.
And did you know he didn't know it was going to be a whole thing like that? He thought when he said cameo, it'd just be like him in the background. He didn't know it was going to be a whole scene like that.
Oh, okay.
Because I think he did it for free. Like he offered to come in and just let him film
Good for him.
Yeah. And not knowing that he's going to have to do like that whole thing all over again with the makeup and whatever else they had to
The
use.
little alien too was a crappy special effect. You saw the little wire.
Oh my
like,
God,
the
that
whole
was
way.
so bad.
It was bad.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey.
That's right. So that little alien thing starts singing "Hello, My Baby." So some quick little fun facts about that. That song was recorded by a guy named Arthur Collins, and it was featured in the Warner Brothers Merry Melodies classic "One Froggy Evening."
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Do you guys remember that cartoon?
Yeah, with the frog, and he does the same thing. He goes across with the
Oh,
dancing
really?
and singing. Same hat, same cane.
100%.
I was thinking of like
So
the
Bugs.
Planners guy.
So you remember Mr. Peanut.
Yeah.
So you remember Bugs Bunny, of course.
Right.
So you had Looney Tunes and Merry Melodies.
Mm-hmm.
So this particular one Froggy Evening, was just one of those shorts. You'd have again, think the ones that you've seen, of course, a 10-minute cartoon of Bugs Bunny, a 10-minute cartoon of Daffy Duck.
Mm-hmm.
This was a 10-minute cartoon of this frog.
Okay.
And it was this one frog that this guy had discovered. He was a construction worker. They're building a skyscraper, and he discovers this frog in this box someplace. And this frog sings and dances and does it with show tunes.
Nobody does it.
But only to him,
Mm-hmm.
only to the guy that found him.
You had to have seen this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure if I saw it, it would spark memories, but I don't remember.
You
talking
need this
about
in your life.
There's something
Yeah.
for our listeners also.
Yeah,
if you have
so
time, look it up. YouTube.
Make your way onto YouTube or wherever you can to find One Froggy Evening.
One other quick before we move on. I don't know if you guys caught this or read about it. Did you notice what was parked outside of the diner? I don't know if we'll get to that during the fun facts.
I did not.
But I don't want to miss this.
Okay.
The Millennium Falcon's parked outside.
No shit.
Yeah.
I didn't see that
I
part.
did not notice
Yeah.
that.
And it was in the, I know it's during the fun facts, but I just know I'm going to probably forget. And because I have a million of them here.
Oh, good. Look, I'm too busy talking about the movie.
Right,
I'm going
yeah.
to rely on used twos for the fun
The
facts.
fun facts. Okay.
Anyway, that same song, "Hello, My Baby," I remember hearing that again, not just as a kid, watching One Froggy Evening. This is a Warner Brothers Merry Melodies classic cartoon, but it was also featured twice in The Simpsons. Now,
Okay.
I'm a
Big Simpsons guy. Yeah.
huge Simpsons guy. Huge. It was featured in the Treehouse of Horror 2,
Oh, I remember those. Yeah.
which was in 1991, and it was also featured in the Homer's Barbershop Quartet episode, which was great,
That was a good one.
from 1993.
Okay.
So if you don't sleep on those. Get these three cartoons in your brain soon. One Froggy Evening, the Warner Brothers Merry Melodies classic,
And
Treehouse of Horror
Horrors.
2, and Homer's Barbershop Quartet. Please,
I will check them out.
absolutely.
Home.
So after the diner scene and after Check Please, we now quick flash to the soon-to-be wedding. This is just a quick flash.
Mm-hmm.
Vespa is distraught to find that Lone Star has left, but she's immediately surprised to learn that he didn't take the $1,000,000 space bucks. He instead took $248 for lunch, gas, and tolls.
Gentlemen.
What a great guy.
Yeah, back to the Winnebago. Barf is hungry after the diner incident. I mean, he for damn sure didn't eat the special.
Right.
Lone Star gives to him Yogurt's fortune cookie. So Barf breaks open the cookie, and a hologram of yogurt, oozes out, or
Pops up.
sparkles out, and we discover that Lone Star is a prince. Hooray!
And that's
Wow.
what he was carrying around, his medallion.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's what the medallion
He is a prince.
had deciphered.
Okay. Yeah.
So now we are racing to Druidia because he wants to marry this broad before she marries Prince Valium. Quick flash to the Spaceballs, the bad guys. So President Scrooge, Colonel Sanders, and Dark Helmet land on a planet. They're still stuck in her head, the Megamaid's head, and her head and her arm are just tossing around through space, and they land on this planet. And they land on a beach in the same fashion as we find in the movie Planet of the Apes.
Mhm.
Yes.
So I assume that you both have seen the original Planet of the Apes.
Charlton Heston and all that.
Correct. And true to that same thing, what do we see? But we see apes arrive on horses.
Mm-hmm.
Again, dressed exactly like you would otherwise see in Planet of the Apes. They see the Spaceballs climbing out of Megamaid's nose, and they exclaim, "Oh shit, there goes the planet."
Yes.
Back to Planet Druidia. All right, we're almost there. Lone Star arrives just in the nick of time to stop the wedding, and they're going through the short version of the ceremony.
Him and Barf are looking quite. They got all dolled up.
Hell yeah.
Dapper,
Yeah. Dapper Dons.
Bartholomew.
Barf.
So this is after the wedding had been delayed once, now delayed twice, and now the bishop or the minister, whatever his name is doing the short version. He looks at the one. Do you? Yes. Do you? Yes. Congratulations, you're married. And they fly off in happiness in the Winnebago. End of movie.
Nice. Yeah, it was definitely a great movie.
I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Got a lot of cool fun facts on this. So
It's a love story. It's touching.
And this, I think all of us, I think we've seen it so many times.
Oh my
There's just so
God.
many one-liners, so many just funny quotes from this movie that you still, to this day, every time something will pop out from it.
Like Zap mentioned, like we were probably like 11, 12. You know, I might have been 12 by the time I actually saw it on video or whatever. And it was just like the perfect timing for a silly movie, like being that age.
Absolutely.
And discovering Mel Brooks is, now I had seen, I'm sure before that, because my dad's a fan, like Blazing Saddles and those other movies that he did.
Awesome.
Was a History of the World.
Yep.
Yeah, part 1 and 2.
Yeah. So like I definitely got his comedy and I mean, it appealed to adults and kids that can get the humor, you know what I mean?
Is there a History of the World Part 2? I know there's a History of the World Part 1, they just named it.
I think there is part 1 and 2.
They named it Part 1 on purpose, I thought, just as a play on the name. I don't know.
You might be correct on
Look,
this.
I don't know shit about fuck, so we'll see.
No, but this was one of those movies that stood out to me as a kid growing up, because I remember it was after we had one of our baseball parties, and we all went back to a friend's house, and his dad had the movie. And I remember being like, this is the coolest.
Hell yeah.
I remember that. I remember Terminator 2.
Mm-hmm.
Not Terminator 2.
Terminator also.
Terminator, the
also.
first one.
Yeah, the very first one, which I saw on VHS, I was like, this is the best movie I've ever seen in my life.
Absolutely.
So we talked about like him getting approval from George Lucas, even though he didn't really have to, because being a satire or satirical movie,
Absolutely, yeah.
you're allowed to do that, and there's really you can get away with it. I mean, you see it on SNL and different things when
Weird Al
skits.
Yankovic proved it to many.
for movies or for music and stuff like that.
His movie's actually pretty good too. You guys
But
seen it?
Weird Al Yankovic movie?
Yes.
UHF.
No, not UHF. That was an amazing movie too, though. I remember that. No, there's a new one with
Daniel Radcliffe?
yes,
Did that drop?
yes,
Stop. Is that out?
yes.
Oh, really?
It's a
It's the Weird
satire on a satire.
It's the Weird Al Yankovic biography.
Oh,
but
so
it's
he
a
plays
satirical
him.
biography
Yes,
of Weird Al Yankovic.
great
Okay.
movie.
I'll have to
If you-
check that
Yeah,
one
you
out.
guys got to see that.
Why am I only just now hearing? I'm sorry. I knew
No.
it was coming, but I'm sorry that I missed it came out. Oh my God, I got to watch
I
that.
did hear about it, but I didn't know it was
good.
out. It's good though. Huh? Where could we find that? You said
I think it was maybe Prime.
I'll go search
on
it.
a streaming service.
It's on Prime. It is on Prime
On
Video.
Prime. Okay. So we talked about George Lucas and his approval of this film. So he actually supplied some clips from Star Wars: A New Hope from 1977 for the escape pod scene that we talked about with the bear and all that. So they used actual scenes that were like on the cutting room floor.
That did seem really, really good,
Right.
given the nature of this movie and the other shitty effects in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like escape pods leaving was dynamite.
Yes,
Right.
but they said also for they did with Lucasfilm, they did use pieces of like broken flashlights, bits of tinfoil for some of the
Special effects.
yeah
stuff.
special effects stuff. Just like they would smash flashlights and
Mhm.
for some of the special effects.
That's wild.
When they
Yes.
also talked about this film,
Space debris, they called it.
they were using green screen for a lot of this movie because they were obviously adding in the background scenes, and the actors were freaked out about it damaging their eyes. So in between a lot of the scenes, they would wear sunglasses to kind of shield their eyes. They were freaked out that it would, I don't know if the rumor got started that it could lead to blindness or cause blindness, but they started wearing sunglasses.
I'm surprised to hear that green screen was even a thing at this point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was news to me.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, they did use green screen, and they would add them in after the fact. You figure 87. We said they filmed this 86 and 87, so I guess they had the technology then. So this movie, along with Beetlejuice, which we covered, 1988, Big, 1988, and Caddyshack, 2 from
It was like
1988.
a comedy filled
Yeah.
adventure.
Well, what these movies have in common is they contain the word "fuck" in it with a
Beetlejuice one time. I know that for a
Yeah.
fact.
Correct.
with a PG rating. This was rated PG, although this was mislabeled as originally as being PG-13, but it was really rated PG.
I could see that. I could see
Yeah.
the 13.
Yeah, but it was actually PG, I guess, rated PG. Do you know the original working title for this movie?
No.
It was A Planet Moron.
Oh, I did read that.
They
Yes.
were gonna call it that, but there was a British science fiction spoof movie with a similar name. It was called Morons from Outer Space, and Mel Brooks didn't want to have it too close to that. So they knew they wanted space in it, and they started rattling off names. I forget if they went through the alphabet and just throwing names out there, and somebody said V.Balls and then Spaceballs, and it just connected. And he was like, yeah, we'll use that.
Oh, it was just, they said, according to Bill Pullman, when they talked to him later, he said that he had not yet had a starring role, and he was approached by Brooks only after Tom Cruise and Tom Hanks turned down the role as Lone Star.
That was one of mine as well. Yeah, Cruise and Hanks, they were approached, and they turned it down.
Yeah. Well, they said also John Candy and Rick Moranis were big at the time, so that kind of freed up. So they didn't have to have another big name like Hanks or Brooks or whatever, or Cruise. I'm sorry.
Right. And Rick Moranis, actually, he's the one who he had suggested John Candy for this. I guess he's the one who went to him and said, hey, you should put him in it. But
those guys were old buddies.
Yeah, they were in SNL together, weren't they?
Not SNL. They were in the Canadian or Chicago equivalent of SNL.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Second City Some Sing.
Mm-hmm.
Not SNL.
Right.
Correct.
So Mel Brooks, the idea for this came to him after he started thinking, like, I've yet to spoof a space movie. I've done Westerns, horror genre.
Sure.
With Young Frankenstein. And
the old historical stuff with History of the World Part 1. Life of Brian.
Right.
And
so he came up, he's like, I'll do a space movie. So that's where he kind of came up with that. Do you know who the original choice for Lone Star was?
I'm going to say Tom Hanks or Tom Cruise.
No. There was one that you didn't name that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
According to this, the original one was James Caan.
That would have been horrible.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think it would have been that bad. James Caan from Godfather and all that.
Yeah, his son is on a show.
I think he's on Hawaii.
Scotty Caan. Yeah,
Scott Caan. He was also in a rap group.
And his wife, Shaka, right?
Chaka Khan, yes.
Yeah.
That's the Khan family.
Yeah.
I thought that was his mom.
It might be. No, I think they'd be about the same age. Shaka Khan.
He was in that movie with William Shatner, the second Star Trek one.
Search for Khan.
The Wrath of Khan.
Wrath of Khan.
Wrath of James Caan.
Wrath of James Caan, yeah. But he was dealing with addiction issues at the time.
James Caan.
Yeah. And also he was too expensive to insure for the movie. So there were various factors.
Did you say addiction issues?
Yeah.
Oh.
Addiction. Who knows what? Alcohol. I don't know. Drugs, alcohol. Who knows what it was?
Quaaludes.
Right. Could have been any of those. Also, another guy considered that you didn't have, Tom Berenger.
Oh.
Remember him?
I didn't see that name anywhere.
Yeah.
Berenger was from Sniper.
So Tom Berenger was also in Major League.
Mm-hmm. Yes. He was the manager, right? Or something. Or was he a player?
He was the player catcher.
Okay.
He made the league minimum.
That's right. Yep. Yeah.
But he still made the team. He made him good.
So here's, because I know we like these ones, usually the cast that never happened. But Colonel Sanders, the original choice, was Steve Martin. And I could totally see that.
Oh, that would have been good.
That would have been, he would have probably added a whole new, now I like that guy as Colonel Sanders, but he did a great job. But
Steve Martin would have taken it to a whole different direction.
Oh, could you imagine? Yeah.
Steve Martin is worth $140 million.
He's zany.
And he also plays what instrument? Anyone.
The ukulele.
No.
Banjo.
Yes.
One of my favorite Steve Martin scenes in a movie, I think it was in The Jerk.
Oh, so we got to do The Jerk.
When
That's a great movie.
When he's like, I forget what's going on in the scene, but there's cans everywhere and they're people are like, a sniper's taking a shot. He's like, these cans are defective, and he's picking them up.
That's fantastic.
Oh yeah, The Jerk.
Fun fact: did you know that this movie was the Spaceballs was actually an animated series for one season?
I did read that tonight, but you talk about it, because it was
that was it. That was the end of it.
Yeah, I know that. I read a little tidbit about that, and it was something to do with he put that out after the Star Wars trilogy. Maybe the second set was out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It kind of sparked him, and there's talk of them doing a Spaceballs sequel, and over the years
there has been talk, but it just consistently falls through.
Because Rick Moranis is not working anymore, right?
He quit.
1990.
Totally
he quit.
Rick Moranis said, "Look, I've made enough money. I want to go hang out with my family. I've earned it. I'm done. I'm retiring early. I'm calling it quits."
He went into like a music career. They said. I don't really know anything that he did.
Did it involve playing the banjo?
No, that's Steve Martin. That's Rick Martin.
Right.
Steve Moranis.
And so, like Zapp mentioned when he was breaking down the movie, he talked about the Gallup twins. The two twins.
Yeah, I always call them the Wrigley twins because they were on the Wrigley
Spear.
The Doublemint.
Oh, that's Doublemint.
But
Wrigley's
Wrigley's
Spearmint?
is Doublemint, right?
Yeah, they're the
Spearmint,
manufacturer.
yes,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah. President Scrooge says a line to them about chew your gum. Go ahead and chew their gum.
Yep.
Or go chew their gum. Yeah, and that's what that references to, I guess, because they were in the commercials, which I didn't know.
He got their names mixed up.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, it was like, I know I'm wrong. It's like, let's pretend it's Mandy and Sandy.
Mm-hmm.
So he calls one, oh, hi, Mandy. I'm Sandy. And then he looks at the other one. Hi, Sandy. I'm Mandy. I can never get it right. Just go chew your gum.
Go chew your gum. So the Winnebago is called Eagle 5, as you referenced.
Yep.
So our boy Bill Pullman was in Independence Day, and his call sign in that movie was Eagle 1.
Huh.
Yeah, so it was
Cool.
kind of a reference to, yeah.
Was it, or was it just because he was the president of the United States and the eagle is a
It could
symbol
be.
of the United States?
It could be, but they're trying to tie the two together. It could be just a coincidence, or maybe it's an ode to Spaceballs.
Could
I don't
be.
know. Yeah.
I'll go with the hope
Mm-hmm.
that it was in fact an ode to Spaceballs.
Yeah.
Well, do you remember Mel Brooks in the movie? He joked about the Spaceballs too, right? Did we say that?
No, I didn't say anything. about
Spaceballs 2, The Search for More Money.
Oh, talking about the
Yes,
sequel.
the sequel.
Okay, yeah.
That's what. Yeah, and he did joke about it in the film, and he did say, "Would you do it?" And I mean, the guy's 96 now.
Mhm.
I don't think he's filming
He's for
anymore.
damn sure not doing it now.
Yeah,
But that whole thing during the movie that we talked about with the marketing and like Spaceballs, the sheet, Spaceballs, the toilet paper and all that, there was a thing, I guess a stipulation that George Lucas had put on the movie, like, I'm cool with you doing the parody. There just can be no merchandising because they didn't want confusion.
merchandising.
Yeah, they didn't want any confusion in the market where somebody goes to buy a Luke Skywalker and buys a Lone Star character or something like that. See, you can do the movie, just know. So that's why he wrote that joke in.
Even though
throughout
they
the
can do
movie.
stuff like that at Five Below.
Right. like
Yeah.
fake characters or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah. The other thing, Bill Pullman, Lone Star's character, was a mix between, I think it was Indiana Jones
Han Solo.
and Han Solo.
Oh, makes
so,
sense.
so yeah, like, yeah, a
She
little bit
played-
of both
yeah.
of them. Hmm.
A new Indiana Jones, actually. Did you guys see that?
I did not.
I saw the trailer dropped for it.
I didn't see the trailer yet. I just heard they were coming out. Did it look good?
I saw that the trailer dropped. I
Oh.
did not see the trailer.
So the scene that we talked about with Dark Helmet playing with his dolls and all that, that was like they came up with it that day and it was improvised and all that. And that's like one of the funniest scenes. You
Oh my
know what I
God,
mean? Yeah. What else here?
Fun fact.
Fun fact.
So Tesla,
Yes.
the electric car manufacturer,
Mhm.
as an ode to Spaceballs. So this electric car, it has varying acceleration modes.
Right.
They use ludicrous mode and plaid mode
Yes.
as two of 3 or 4 of their acceleration modes.
Mm-hmm.
So buy a Tesla, you will find ludicrous mode and plaid mode.
Yeah, I know that Elon Musk is a huge fan of this movie, and that's why he did that.
It's
He
awesome.
put that in there. And there was also...
It must be cool to be that rich.
Yeah.
Just
I-
the ludicrous mode
Yeah.
and
Right.
plaid mode because I like the movie Spaceballs. Well, any other reason? Does it mean it? No. I just like Spaceballs.
Yeah. Oh, the Michael Winslow, we talked about all the sound effects and stuff he
The
did.
sweeps, the bleeps, the
Right.
creeps.
There was in the DVD commentary, I guess, Mel Brooks says how he saved him so much money because he did all the sound effects and stuff. He saved him like $1,000 in
That's
sound-
awesome.
Yeah.
Is that so much money when you're talking a movie?
Well,
Like the guy saved me $1,000.
Yeah, $1,000's $1,000. I
Hey,
guess.
look, man, you saved somebody $1,000.
It's a lot of money.
He's
You're
going to
right. Even
remember that.
today.
He's going to
A
remember.
grand is a grand.
He's going to buy you lunch.
Oh, Mel Brooks.
He's all heart, Mel Brooks. He just gives it. Such a giver.
Yeah, I think an hour and 30 minutes into Spaceballs. I think we're all spaced out.
I think we hit the limit of the movie.
We hit ludicrous limit.
One last thing.
Oh.
Okay, and we'll close with this one. So the castle that on Planet was it Planet Druidia?
Druidia.
Yep.
Yeah, that is a copy of King Ludwig II's Neuschwanstein Castle in Bavaria, and they kind of modeled it after that. And that's also the castle that all the Disney castles are modeled after.
Oh,
So yeah, I thought it was a cool.
That's a
tidbit.
cool Schwenston fact.
Yeah, for our German listeners,
Yes.
they probably know that. But yeah, cool looking castle, great movie. Thought it was great. I mean, it's still funny to me now as an adult, and I mean, I've seen it over the years, but I definitely enjoyed it.
Yeah, you and I were sitting here and had it on the background
Mhm.
before we did our cast tonight and laughing at the parts on that. Just the doll part, I think, came up. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and being middle-aged, almost, not quite, but
you're for damn sure middle-aged.
Yeah,
Yeah, don't embrace it, dude.
still a great movie.
Right.
From the time, like 11, I think that's what we were saying, 11, 12 years old when we
Yeah.
probably first saw this.
Mhm.
to now, and it still makes you laugh. Even if your kid's around 13, they'll get it. Have them watch with the fam. Good family movie.
The fact that the three of us can sit around and we can just toss out quotes and we say them synchronously. You just know that that's a movie that, we've seen obviously more than once, and again, enough to memorize quotes, to just walk it through and talk it through, and to be able to flash back and think of any number of instances that just will bring a smile to your face. That just makes this movie just truly, truly a classic. I love it. I absolutely love it. I mean, I feel so fortunate having seen this in my formative years,
Yes,
and have had, it's 30 some years to watch this over and over and over. That's great. That's just great to me. So yeah, I've said it before, I'll say it again to our listeners. If you have not seen this movie, please do yourself a favor and watch this movie.
Absolutely.
or if you have not seen this movie, or if you have seen this movie, revisit it. Take an hour and 20 minutes to sit down.
Always worth a rewatch.
Yes,
for sure. Yeah. No, but next week we did a poll. The Christmas movie will be next week. Be Christmas Vacation.
Yeah, we all knew that was coming.
Yep. And then after that, off the poll, The Breakfast Club, I believe, is the winner.
Be fun.
So that'll be the week after that. And then back to that poll, guys. Make sure you go over to our Facebook page, Old Dirty Basement. Get over there, vote on those movies, add movies you want. Let us know, what you want us to cover. That's how we're going to interact. Every now and then we'll throw in a fun poll, like we talked about earlier with the older movies, and you were saying about the horrible movies, picking like a bad one.
Yeah, what Zach was saying doesn't necessarily have to be like a horrible movie, just something that looked like, what was the one you referenced for Bill Cosby? Was in
Leonard. Yeah.
Leonard Part 6.
Something like that, where it's like, they put out like the big previews for it. Everybody's getting excited for it, and the movie just flops.
Just horrible.
Flopped. Yep.
Right. So, yeah, definitely keep an eye out for some of those polls. In the meantime, the main poll we have over there, please head over there, vote on that. Follow our page if you haven't, and let us know what you think. And join us next week again on Vintage Cinema Review. I guess that's it for now. We'll catch you where?
On the flip side.
If we don't see you sooner, we'll see you later.
Peace. Thanks for listening to the Vintage Cinema Review in the Old Dirty Basement. If you dig our theme music like we do, check out the Tsunami Experiment. Find them on Facebook. Their music is streaming on Spotify and Apple, and where great music is available.
You can find us at Old Dirty Basement on Facebook and Instagram, and at Old Dirty Basement Podcast on TikTok.
Peace.
We Audi 5000.